Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore. Today, well, you guys were here. We just finished Shadows over Innistrad. It was a wild ride, and it wasn't just a wild ride for the characters involved. There was other places that were going through stuff. So today we're going to go through the town of Hanweir, specifically the Hanweir Chronicle, where all around the world,
statues crumble for me.
They sent out wizards themselves to the real world, sent out these basically blurbs in clue form. They had to build their own story, and it ended in this story, which is the Hanweir Chronicle, which is a story told over the whole time of just normal people and what escalates into the madness that's going to be Eldritch Moon.
February 29th. Town of Hanweir declares itself sovereign province. After an evening of intense debate, the Council of Hanweir has decided to secede from Gavany and become a sovereign province of Innistrad. The town hall meeting began with a harsh warning from Elder Micus, who feared isolation from the rest of Viden's parish if Hanweir were to break with Gavany, but the members of the council remained steadfast in their ruling. As a community, we must come together, Head Councilman Reed asserted in his closing statement. If we are to survive as a safe haven, we must separate ourselves from the dangers inside and outside Thraben with an effective deterrence. Opposing councilfolk incited rabble with their own evidence. The bishop has asserted we need not worry, cried Councilwoman Larson. Our faith has been tested before, and we shall endure the test once more. The councilwoman's statement was trumped by a testimony from recent attack survivor Hettian Millard. When they went to the Krallen Horde, I thought I was safe, she recounted through tears. But my one remaining arm says otherwise. We have all been betrayed. Millard's town hall theatrics proved the nail in the coffin for the council majority's cause. The vote was 5-4 in favor of seceding from Gavany. A writer has been sent to Thraben to report the hamlet's departure from the province. After further debate, the council decided to call this new province Hanweir, to avoid additional confusion. When approached for comment, Councilwoman Larson refused to speak to the Hanweir Chronicle, instead remaining blank-faced and motionless in her seat. Sources told the Chronicle she stayed in the same state for hours after the town hall meeting ended.
So you guys know Gavany Township. All the human living towns kind of like built together, have their own alliance because there's stuff out there. Hanweir has been noticing stuff going on. This is around the time we're seeing angel attacks and stuff. They're seeing that and just like, okay, so they were attacking the monsters. Some of us got attacked and we weren't doing anything. We can't have that. And you guys are still following this church with blind faith. Something's going wrong. We're breaking off.
March 2nd, note attached, reads, for the smith, Oliver Hayfield. Decree attached reads, by order of the town of Hanweir, all silver munitions must be moved to the top of the village wall.
So to translate the little note, werewolves be crazy. To give some context, there was actually silver stuff sent out like all around the world. There was just like
statues trouble for me.
There was a silver chalice, a silver plate, all with the Abyssinian collar logo.
March 3rd. Irregular activity continues outside the walls of Hanweir. The lush farmland and autumnal gloom of the province of Idens have recently become home to much queerness and curiosity. Usually the simple tomfoolery of incorrigible youths or the occasional geist, residents of the province town of Hanweir are reporting trespassing in remarkable numbers. The distinctive liths we have all grown to appreciate, both for aesthetic appeal and unquestionable intrigue, have become a meeting place for many of our local residents. When approached for comment, yours truly was met with crude responses and immature hand gestures. It did not seem plausible to investigate further into this matter. More fortune was found speaking with the owners of said farmland. Farmers reported burning sigils and crops on the far end of town. I chased 3 people off my orchard last night. True weirdos, the lot of them, recounted popular pear farmer Hadwin Dodd. Truth is, I try not to go near them. Seems the folks during the burning is on their way to Nephalia. Dodd also noted that he had seen Avison pass over his orchard, flying more swiftly than any fleet-winged griff. She was reported to be flying quickly towards the direction of Thraben. Dodd added he intends to move inside the township of Hanweir shortly. I don't want to twist facts to suit theories, he said, but from what I can make of it, if I want to survive, I need to move into town. The reason for Avison's resolute quickness is unknown.
So the populace is noting that things are getting weirder than usual, and they're starting off by trying to write it off, just like, okay, this is weird, but we're always weird. Speaking of weird, this is weird, but things are always weird around here. So they're trying to write it off, but it just keeps getting weird. There was burning sigils and everything, possibly witchcraft and stuff, but stuff you don't want to be out there on your own for.
March 7th, strangely productive town hall meeting. After an eventful meeting last week, the council reached speedy agreement on several minor town issues. The council voted 8 in favor to 1 to replace the town bell. The bell, locally known as Richard the Ringer, is in need of care after near constant use. After being repeatedly beaten upon by an angel during last week's raid, the council agreed it would be best to commission a new bell. Councilman Carl Murray, the only council member to vote against replacing the bell, did so after no other council members agreed to name the new bell Carl's Clang-a-Ringer. Upon review of the sheer number of violent angel attacks in the last few months, it was decided the Hanweir market will be closed until safety can be ensured. Although it seemed to sadden the council to reach this decision, it was agreed shortly thereafter that there are other more permanent ways to solidify as a community. We must act before our village becomes like those others far away, grotesque and full of stark desolation, noted Councilman Reed. I refuse to let our province town become a roost for these heinous killers. Yours truly wishes to note that after the council had concluded their minutes, a brief discussion was held as to whether to leave the symbol of Avison above our church. The bishop asserted it must stay, citing Avison's will as a star our moral compass must always point towards. Councilman Sykes disagreed, marking that it made little sense to continue praising a being that has turned so violently on those she is meant to protect. The bygone bishop refused to recant his position, and the symbol was decided to remain as a reminder of what once was.
So in this one, they're trying to replace their town bell. It sounds at the beginning like they're going to replace because they've been ringing it so much, but it actually got angel attacked. Like their town experienced an angel attack, and they're fighting back against it. There's a little quip about one councilman who wanted to name the bell a ridiculous thing, but that's beside the point.
March 8th, a lone vampire was spotted outside the wall last evening. She called to be let inside, but guards warned her to turn around lest she face impalement. The vampire was disheveled and travel-worn, not rabid as others have been, but clearly losing grip on maintaining her composure. She stood still in the cold rain, awaiting entrance for quite some time. When she offered to trade her jewelry over the wall out of desperate thirst, it became clear she was not accustomed to the life of more nomadic vampires. I attempted to interview her from atop the Hanweir wall. What is your name, villain? My name is not important. Please, I have gold and pearls to trade. What is your lineage? My lineage doesn't matter anymore. Why doesn't it matter? It simply doesn't, please. I am so thirsty. All residents of Hanweir are locked within our walls. The vampire, upon hearing this, dissolved into a fit of manic laughter. Locked within the walls. Even here, they are locked within the walls. The vampire continued to laugh while violently kicking the stone of our walls, swearing incoherently. It became clear that the creature was mad due to starvation. I retreated to my chamber and obtained a rat from under the floorboards to throw to her. I did so, and our interview continued. Why have you traveled so far from home, if you are unaccustomed to hunting in the wild? How dare you deliberately insult me? I can't eat this. By now, the biting rain had become irritating, and my patience waned. I needed answers. I sliced a small cut into my finger and dribbled it down the side of the wall. The vampire snapped its jaws and lapped it up quickly. Her glamour became weak, and her vicious hands began trying to climb up the walls. The nearby militia captain decided to take action and shot her with an arrow, whence she fell to her death. Taken into consideration the immediate reprimand I received from the council members, I will no longer conduct interviews with non-human beings. I am left confused. Where did this vampire come from? Why was she so poorly dressed for the wilds? I am most upset that this was probably my last opportunity to speak with an outsider. Regardless, I must try to rest. These are terrible times.
So a vampire comes up looking rather aristocratic, not like one of the marshland vampires or somebody that should be out in the wild like that. The reporter here wants to talk to her because it sounds like he's only had Hanweir people to talk to thus far. So he's like, okay, let's get an outside view because things are crazy right now. He's trying to talk to her, but she's crazy also. He thinks it's from hunger. She's starving. Then he says locked within the walls, and it actually triggers something in her. Something happened that locked people within the walls. It turns out Markov Manor was attacked. This is a Markov vampire. That's why she doesn't know how to hunt. That's why she wants people. She's under Soren's protection.
March 15th. Construction of the Hanweir Wall finished. The Hanweir Chronicle is most proud to share the joyous news of the finalization of the structural improvements to Hanweir's wall. The massive additions were product of much diligent work, and our safety will be ensured by its might and stability. Head Councilman Reed praised its height and barricaded doors, claiming no unimpeded trespasser or uninvited geist will be able to enter our fair province town. There is much reason to praise both this lovely doorless creation and the brave workers who so diligently constructed it. A celebration is to be held in the town square at sundown tonight, with performances from local musicians and various acts of revelry. With the construction completed, the council wanted to assert that no man or woman may exit the town of Hanweir once inside its walls. All trade with the outside may be conducted via the dumbwaiter on the north end of town. Although the market may be downsized as an unfortunate side effect of the wall, our community will surely be strengthened and more effectively united against the various evils that plague our new and modern world. May our wall safely guard us from the blood-drenched tyrant Avison and her magnificent betrayals.
They built a wall around Hanweir, and they made the angels pay for it. They have fortified their defenses, but it's getting a little extreme, and it's odd because it's necessary. Everything is going crazy, and even Hanweir is starting to feel it.
March 21st, Turmoil at Town Hall by Oliver Hayfield. The Town Hall meeting turned into a brawl this morning as Councilwoman Blackwell took it upon herself to castigate the rest of the council for the decision to construct the Hanweir Wall. We have sealed ourselves in with the devils and demons among us, Councilwoman Blackwell announced to her peers. We have no easy access to food, the river, or any sort of trade. You thoughtless fools have doomed us to an inhumane demise. This dissension in the ranks was only met with flat disagreement. The councilwoman proceeded to throw punches at a confused Councilman Reed to her left. Councilman Reed did not attempt to fight, but instead began singing a Gavany lullaby as loudly as he could. Other council members, and soon all in attendance, joined in. Councilwoman Blackwell stood bloody-knuckled and dumbfounded, grabbing her overcoat and leaving immediately. Still singing, the council, observant body, and yours truly found ourselves grasping each other, singing our lullaby in sweet comfort. Councilwoman Blackwell, alarmed with broken concentration, absconded and was reported lowering herself over Hanweir's wall. Left on her front door was this handwritten notice: "Look for me in Nephalia, for I depart you errant fools to serve the righteous and splendid Queen of Vengeance."
One of them still seems sane, so she's wondering, why is everybody going crazy? Why do we build this wall? Our economy's shot, our resources are shot. We're just stuck in a dome. What were you guys even thinking? She gets violent. I don't know if that's part of her personality or if she's starting to go crazy too, but everybody else shows that they're crazy in the same way and starts singing a lullaby. They're just singing together, basically Christmas caroling and lullaby to this lady while she's beating the crud out of them. Finally, she's just like, okay, this isn't working. You know what? Fine. I'm going to go serve the queen. And that's when you realize she is crazy too, but it doesn't seem like the same thing that's affecting them is affecting her, or it's affecting her in a different way.
March 24th. I write this entry from atop the Hanweir Wall. I find it amusing and self-congratulatory that not only did my village secede from Videns Parish and Gavany, but we felt arrogant enough to name our one-town province Hanweir. I reside now in Hanweir, within the province of Hanweir. If we used a currency, would it be called the Hanweir? Are our individual streets to be renamed Hanweir? Am I Hanweir? I have come to love and fear this wall. Councilwoman Blackwell, in her anger, seems to have been a bearer of overwhelming truths. By enclosing ourselves, we have ensured that anything sealed with us behind the walls of Hanweir cannot get out. This truth became far too clear last night, with the unfortunate discovery that former popular pear farmer Hadwin Dodd was a lycanthrope. He was killed last night in front of his own house after a most disturbing public transformation and moonlight hunt. He died only after slaughtering 2 children in his lupine state. Perhaps we, the makers of our cage, deserve this. We have sinned, and our punishment is raining in blood from the sky and tearing transformed flesh behind our doors. I find myself praying to no one in particular. Avison and her vultures will certainly not help me. Instead, I whisper desperate prayers to the void of the night, to the cold witch hour when only the moon can hear me. It feels pointless. I'm not sure if the moon can do me much good. Perhaps all I can do is turn to those around me. Perhaps the only solution is to join with the rest of the sinners and wayward souls here in this hapless box we made. Our salvation is not in the skies or in the hymns or in books. It is closeness with our neighbors, embracing each other and embracing our humanity. As I write with my pen, the truth becomes manifest. Coming together is the only option.
Mr. Oliver Hayfield is saying, yeah, the correct parts of what Blackwell said were right. Like, we have nothing, we have no food, we have monsters here within us. This is a throwback to an earlier story. Farmer Dodd, who came to live within the walls, which weren't walls at the time, but Farmer Dodd that came to live within Hanweir was a werewolf. They locked themselves in there with the werewolf. The whole town together is going crazy by whatever's affecting the plane, the moon.
March 28th. Need grain, barley, spelt, oats, wool, firewood, hay, candle oil. Code for 8. Fruit, any. Vegetables, any. Milk, any other than goat. Beer, whiskey, wine. Have horseshoes, haunted cloak, ballista arrows, lots of ballista arrows, books, mundane, secular, quill, singular, urn, decorative, leather goods, used children's shoes, preserved pears, magnifying glass, singular.
This is just a list of what they have and don't have, and it speaks volumes. They're hungry, they're cold, they're running out of stuff. They have a lot of leftover stuff from people that were probably deceased, people that got killed. There are some used children's shoes here. That's not a good implication. Things are not going well in the Hanweir province. Hanweir.
April 1st. Rem Carolus, I write to you from the Hanweir province, formerly the town of Hanweir. I understand that recently you have been hunting angels, but we found something that might still be of interest to you. Our captain of the wall recently killed a werewolf within the perimeter of our town, and was sorry to find that the creature did not transform back to human form when he died. I have included part of the skin and the tip of the arrow that killed him as evidence. Please answer as soon as possible. My town grows in apprehension and concern about the condition of the world behind our walls. Thank you, Oliver Hayfield.
So Oliver Hayfield's writing to Rem Carolus, which in itself is cool because I didn't know he was a character before he got a card. Yeah, a werewolf died and didn't turn back to human. Werewolves turn back into their human forms when they die. Something's up with this werewolf. Something's up. But yeah, this was just a blurb that whatever's going wrong is even affecting the creatures, the werewolves. Possibly other creatures. Let's find out more.
April 8th. Decree passed for mandatory communal meals by Oliver Hayfield. The Council of the Province Town of Hanweir decrees that all meals must be consumed communally. Bishop Dunlap has generously offered to use his church's venue for thrice daily meal consumption. All food must be supplied by individuals, and all human residents of Hanweir must be present for each meal. Attendance will be recorded by Bishop Dunlap. Those who fail to be present for all meals will be banished to the outside of village walls. The fortified village of Hanweir has, for the past month, triumphantly banded in response to the evils of our time. Head Councilman Reed praised the council's decision to move forward with the decree, citing a desire to welcome his constituents to the fold. Birth announcements. Aubrey and Abigail Pietro, born to Catherine and Peter this past waxing crescent. Austin and Timothy Micus, born to Deborah and Elder this past first quarter. Carl and Rudy Havisham, born to Edith this past waning gibbous. Eleanor and Bear Gerritsen, born to Gillian last fool.
So they're calling for communal meal times. The whole town is going to be there for meal times. So there are several purposes to this. First off, well, they're out of food. They got to regulate food. So they got to make sure everybody gets the same portion of what they have left. Second, they're trying to weed out monsters. If you don't show up, you're probably a monster. Third, they're staying banded together. They're staying unified. They want them all in one place because we are Hanweir. We will always be together.
May 18th. This hat does not fit us anymore.
Ricky, put what we're referring to up here because where do we even start? The madness has hit. Hanweir was not safe. They're unified like they always tried to be in, I don't think, the way they intended. This is Hanweir now. It's not the town, it's not the province, it's not the village. It's Hanweir the creature, and everybody's in it.
Hanweir the writhing township. It is most sublime, glorious, and convergence upon us. Praise us, praise ourselves, praise we. Oliver, is there anything you would like to say? Yes, hello, it is me. Please, I am here. Please, I'm still here. We are present now. We are so happy to all be here together, last together. Praise us, praise ourselves, praise we. Everything at once. Boundless, sensory, slithering ecstasy. My faithful readers, I am here. Please remember my name. What before became now. Allow me to retain it. All is each other, and it is most rapturous indeed. And at least we will never be alone. Praise us. Let whoever read this know. I may be gone, but we are tremendously alive.